Good morning and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Terrell Bernard out of Baylor in our NFL Draft Prospect Special is our host, a man who is the encyclopedia of football knowledge, one who comes to us every single week with informative, fun, engaging content, our host and founder, Mr. Vincent Turner. How's it going, man?
How you doing this morning, man? Thank you for your kind words, my man.
Absolutely.
Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee in the house.
Hey, that's right. Hey, Oak Ridge has
865.
Oak Ridge has definitely been in the house. I was watching that game in the Super Bowl, watching my dude T. Higgins taking 2 touchdowns. And I mean, is it crazy to you to think that this young man was in high school 2 years ago? He was in high school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But the thing about when you have a dream and you look at all these prospects, the bottom line to make it to the NFL, obviously you grew up on the same block. A lot of people don't know this here on that platform, 100 Yards Football. Jeremiah grew up with T. Higgins, been knowing the young man ever since he was, a little boy.
I mean,
but
barely
I know you could contest to this right quick. But the young man put the work in, didn't he?
Absolutely. And he was very civic minded as well. Like he was always in the community. He was always working with the other, he was a known quantity in the community and as a very positive force. So for today, we want to continue that amazing trend and talk about our draft prospect, Terrell Bernard out of Baylor. So Mr. Vincent Turner, tell us, what do we have to look forward to from this young man and what do we expect from him out of the draft?
Well, when I think about Terrell Bernard, I think about Baylor University, linebacker, and the head coach, Dave Aranda, did a fantastic job with this young man. But when you think about Baylor football, you think about the eyes, Michael Singletary. And Terrell Bernard put up a lot of production at Baylor. What I like about the young man, a lot of people who said he's a little bit undersized, but he played all 3 positions. But this is what sticks out to me. See, when you're a football player, the one thing, can you stay healthy? He played 43 games in his career. Listen to this, Jeremiah. He played 2,250 snaps. That's a lot of football. So that's telling me he's able to stay on the field. Then look at his production. Over his career, 427 tackles, 15 tackles for a loss, 14.5 tackles as a sacks, 7 pass defense, 3 interceptions. This is a young man that was very productive his last 2 years and over a course of time at Baylor University. And he was coached real well for Dave Aranda. I'm going to keep bringing Coach Aranda names up because when we talk about college coaches right now, I know everybody talks about Kirby Smart local here at Georgia. There should be no question about that. We talk about Nick Saban. We talk about Josh Heupel. But I'm telling you, Dave Aranda is in that top 5 as being one of the best all-around coaches in college football. But getting back to Mr. Terrell Bernard, when you look at him, the skill set is very, very impressive. Explosive athlete. A+. He's got an excellent second gear going sideline to sideline. A+. Lateral agility. A+. Taking away the running primary lanes. A+. His football IQ. A+. Because you know what? He graduated early. His junior year, he was working on his master's. So his football IQ is at another level. Skill set. His feel in the passing game. Based on the fact he had 3 interceptions, 7 pass defense, A+. Versatile. As I said earlier on, he played all 3 linebacker positions at Baylor University. And the one thing that you have to have as a linebacker that he has is that the read and react ability. This is a young man, once he diagnosed something, his ability to quickly diagnose a play and get up in the hole, A+. And then he comes from LaPorte, Texas. Think about all the great football players that came out of his neighborhood. Curvin Richards that played at Pitt. The great Sean Rogers, the Longhorns of Texas that played with the Detroit Lions. And the great legend Gene Washington that played on the 1966 Michigan State team. They all came from the same area as Mr. Terrell Bernard. And then I keep telling people when I was at the University of Arkansas, I saw a lot of great football in the Southwest Conference. It reminds me a lot of two linebackers that played in my school when I was there. Teddy Morris and Milton Fields. Both of them were great inside linebackers, Jeremiah. They can diagnose, they can move, but they were mean and nasty. See, that's what I like about Terrell Bernard. Not only what I just brought up about him, but he's nasty. Then Irvin Randall, who played at Baylor. His youngest brother was John Randall. Then, of course, Mike Singletary. Gary Moulton that played at SMU. And then one of my homeboys that grew up in my area in Whitehaven, Tennessee, who went on and played at the University of Houston, who was all Southwest Conference, Eric Blunt. This young man's got a skill set like them. And when you look at it and you think about how the NFL's going, these type of linebackers are more of a commodity. Because Mr. Bernard, even though a lot of people don't like his size at 6'1", 222, but he's a young man that showed you in the right system, he can be a productive football player. And as I said, what's most impressive about him is that he graduated his junior season, came back working on his master's. And then one more time, his career production, 427 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 14.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 7 pass defense. And he played in 43 games, started, and played under 2,250 snaps. That's a young man that's played a lot of football and done it at a high level at Baylor University. And it ended it with a Sugar Bowl win over Ole Miss in his last game.
That's incredible. That is just that, and you think when you see a young man like this perform that it couldn't even go beyond that, but he just keeps coming back and performing and putting in that work. So everybody who's watching, tell us, what do you think? Do you think that he'll be drafted? When do you think he'll be drafted? What do you think he'll be drafted to? We just want to know exactly what you think, and what are your favorite things about this young man? And Mr. Vincent Turner, tell us, what are your final words on Mr. Terrell Bernard for all of our amazing live viewers and our amazing podcast listeners?
Well, Terrell Bernard, like I said, he's out of LaPorte, Texas, a little suburb outside Houston. Mm-hmm. And when you think about Texas, you think about music, you think about that young man back in the day when I was in school, they had some hits back in the early 80s and late 70s. He was out of San Antonio, Texas. And his name was Christopher Cross. It is the night. My body is weak. I'm on the run. No time to sleep. Mm-hmm. I got to ride like the wind. Terrell Bernard gonna ride like the wind when he get drafted in the National Football League. This is a good football player, man. That's my final words about Terrell Bernard. He's got the eyes. Mike Singletary, Baylor University too.
Woo! Wow, that is exactly what I was thinking on that too. And for everybody watching or listening to us right now, thank you so much. This has been our draft prospect special of Terrell Bernard out of Baylor with our host Vincent Turner and me, your producer Jeremiah Long. We'll be